You've probably heard about the creature named Zundamon before. Some know already who that is and don't pay much attention. Others have no idea and others know too much and have made Zundamon their entire personality. Hi, I'm the local Zundamon enthusiast. How did Zundamon come about? What's the story behind this green critter? Why does sudden rise popularity? That's what I'm here to explain, as someone who's been too interested in Zundamon for about 2 years now. To answer those questions, we'll have to travel all the way back to 2011. It's a bit of a tragic start, and it all begins with the earthquake that struck the Tohoku region in Japan in 2011, also sometimes referred to as the Great East Japan Earthquake. It was one of the worst earthquakes in Japan, and the fourth worst one in the world since modern seismography began in the 1900s. It's safe to say that the destruction caused by this was catastrophic, and the Tohoku region was left in ruins. But after destruction comes rebirth, and the region needed some way to recover after the destruction. That's where a company called SSS, or like I will call them SSS, in collaboration with HI Software, decided to create Tohoku Zunko, the first vocal synth in the Tohoku family. SSS' first voiceroid vocal was Tohoku Zunko, created to get the Tohoku region back on its feet. They assisted by gathering funds for Zunko's creation, and after collecting enough, they released her first voice bank September 28, 2012. SSS would later have one more crowdfunding campaign to help create a Vocaloid 3 voice bank, which ended up being released in June 2014. After Zunko came the rest of her family, consisting of Tohoku Kiritan and Tohoku Itako. They're her siblings, with other characters related to Tohoku Zunko are Chinese Rabbit and Kyushu Sora MK=11. Zundamon is Tohoku Zunko's pet, or mascot, hence Zundamon being called Vocaloid Pet on various sites. Kiritan received her voice bank, being on the Tao voice bank, in June 2015, and Itako received hers, also on the Tao voice bank, at the same time. Zundamon only got their voice bank May 21st, 2017, around 3 years later than the rest. Zundamon, being from the Tohoku region, is themed after Zundamochi, a sweet dessert popular in the Tohoku region of Japan, made from a glutinous rice base and covered with mashed edamame beans, which are just immature soybeans. Fun fact, Zunda translates to bean hitting roughly. Zundamon is a Zundamochi sprite who is capable of transforming into Zunko's Zunda arrow. Zunko wields a bow, and since Zundamon is technically her pet, but they're a magical pet, they can turn into an arrow. Zundamon's fairy form, or also known as mascot, resembles the Zundamochi the most, with a white body and green details. They also have some fairy, rabbit-ish features like the ears and the tail. The human form, also known as the Bishoujo Zundamon, resembles less a Zundamochi, but they still have the white-green color palette, with a little bit of pink to add contrast. They kept the tail from the fairy form and kept it as a sort of ponytail. The ears resemble an edamame bean pod, and they have an edamame bean-shaped neck decoration. This form closely resembles a young girl, but even though the Bishoujo form is officially female, SSS has stated that they can be portrayed as a young boy too. They even sold extra voice materials for a male Zundamon. They're also canonically ageless in both forms. Personality-wise, they're lively and a bit mischievous, but they also carry a somewhat unlucky attribute and can often fly under everyone's radar unnoticed. Oh, you sweet innocent soul, I noticed you, and you're far from unnoticed. If it's not very obvious, I might have noticed Zundamon. I'm not entirely sure. Zundamon's hobbies consist of just about anything that involves Zundamochi. They also have aspirations, one of them being popularizing Zundamochi and becoming more articulate at speaking. Zundamon's boom of popularity, at least for the Western audience, most likely came through music. Zundamon was already popular in Japan because of multiple factors. Zundamon started out as a free text-to-speech software, so it was easy to make content with them. They also have a nice design and a cute voice, so that's also a contributing factor. They are also one of the mascots for a region in Japan, so they're bound to have some popularity in the end. Back in the West, or Northwest for me, my exposure to Zundamon came through music. Songs like Zunda Party Night by Name Groove or Momiyage wo Shakavego by a producer with one of the best names, Nu was my first exposures. Hey guys, sorry, editor Oxford butting in. I don't want to hear a single word about how Nu is a problematic producer. Thank you. Mayonnaise Fried Chicken came out the 15th December 2023, but blew up around May 2024. Zunda Party Night came out 21st of March 2023, but was added to the global version of Project Sekai the 8th of September 2024. That was definitely a contributing factor to the growing popularity and exposure of Zundamon to a wider audience. Fun fact, it was added as a part of the collaboration between Project Sekai and the Vocaloid collection, also known as Vocaloid, as the winner of the Spring 2023 Rookie category. But it wasn't actually the winner. Yokosu Stu Öden Sento E by Nu was the real winner, but due to it being inappropriate, Zunda Party Night was added instead after a short discussion between the two producers. And after that, several new songs were discovered and grew in popularity. Some examples are Odoboro by Umi-chan, Sweetie Kitchen Showtime by Mame Kakao, Ai no Uta by Dai Baku Hashin, and Yababaina by Satana P. I read a comment somewhere that someone was upset that Zundamon replaced Nero in the Triple Baka squad, but it's not. A year later and Triple Baka is still thriving while Zundamon just sits outside. There's also some lesser known Zundamon songs I'm a huge fan of, like this one, and that one, and this one too. It's underrated. I'm such a fan, y'all don't get it. There's also an incredible amount of Zundamon covers too. You like a song? There's probably a cover of it already. Zundamon being as popular as they are now, has been featured in a few games, but also has a plethora of collaborations. One of the games they're featured in is Kemono Friends 3. I didn't find much information about why, but there's at least some footage and they're looking as cute as ever. There was also a collaboration with the game Onigiri, but instead of Zundamon, it's an official derivative called Ankomon. Their first appearance was an enemy described as a fake Zundamon. Once Zundamon's human form came out and it became popular, people started making fan designs and lore for Ankomon, making them some sort of a rival character. Ankomon's official human design ended up being posted in May of 2024. Ankomon, as the name suggests, is based on Ankomochi, also known as Daifuku. This also inspired the trend of making other Zundamon derivatives based on different kinds of mochi, and eventually other kinds of food. That was some Ankomon lore for you all in a Zundamon video. Nice to know. There was also a Zundamon DLC made for a desktop mate, a software that lets characters roam around your desktop. Surprisingly, I don't have it. Mostly because I found out that paying $20 back then for a 3D avatar was a bit expensive, considering I can get some merch for that same price instead. They did change the price to $15, but I still won't buy it. There's actually an anime that features Zundamon too, for maybe a couple of seconds, but they're still there. Zunda Horizon features Tohoku Zunko and her family living their life making Zundamochi, while the Natto Nation looks at them menacingly. I won't spoil too much, but I've used some footage from the anime in this video already, but you totally should watch it. It was available on YouTube, and it was available on Nico Nico for free, but not anymore. Not that I can really check if it's on Nico Nico. They took away my access. Please give me back my access, I am begging, I don't want to use a VPN. Anyways, that was some games and one anime, But merchandise is where I come in. This year, Magical Mirai had a concert in Sendai, the largest city in Tohoku region. Wanna guess who had a collaboration because of that? That's right! Zundamon and Hatsune Miku. And Zunko, but low-key, we're only focusing on Zundamon here. There are several can badges, stickers, and acrylic stands with the three of them featured, which I find so cute. Miku in Zundamon clothes, and Zundamon in Miku clothes. When I first saw this, I squealed in joy. Two of my biggest interests collided into one? That's so cool for me! Anyway, strong start. Here's a bunch of different collaborations that resulted in some banger pieces of merch. Zundamon in Kiddieland Osaka Umeda. Kiddieland is a store selling toys and goods from various of different franchises. Zundamon had a pop-up shop in Osaka, resulting in a wide range of goods. Some of them I'm still trying to get my hands on now. There's also an online kuji, or lottery game, with Zundamon and their family collaborating with Hanaeda Airport! They decorated a section of the airport with Zundamon and the rest, and had a stage with some live performances, and of course they sold some goods. Zundamon Global Domination? Are they actually going to take over the world? That's a really cool side quest actually, perfectly silly even for Zundamon standards. I'm not really sure about the live performances though, since I could barely find any information online about this except for the fact that there was some merch. That's all I know. There are also a bunch of crane game goods from Konami, ranging from plushies to blankets. Similar to prize figures. Speaking of prize figures, this isn't exactly a collab, but there's a Zundamon figure that could be won from said crane game. I have it! And the advertisement poster too! I don't know how obvious it was, but I absolutely love Zundamon so much. They're literally me, and I have made it my life mission to be Zundamon's #1 fan overseas. I wish to be known as the Zundamon fan. Their entire personality, design, voice, everything about them cheers me up a lot, and I love collecting merch of them. I might make, one day, a video of my Zundamon collection, but it would get outdated really fast. Zundamon existing as a morale boost really is a morale boost, and low-key my life has improved ever since I became obsessed with Zundamon. It sounds a bit silly, and I probably sound mentally deranged, but as someone who struggles to find motivation to do anything and sometimes even get up and out from my bed, Zundamon for some reason has become a huge motivation for me. And hopefully, Zundamon can cheer others up too. Everything about them is just so perfect. Truly one of the best characters invented. But I have to stop my Zundamon appreciation ramble here, or else I will add 10 more minutes to this video. Have a lovely day, and remember to subscribe if you like Vocaloids, because I talk about them probably an unhealthy amount. This was Oxra, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.